The worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach, and fitness expert Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. This is your chance where I sit down with today's top experts in business, mindset, wellness, and success to help you master disruption and thrive.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon.
From building a radio at 5 years old to building a helium neon laser from scratch. Before he even turned 10, science, chemistry, and physics were always passion. He dove deep into brain-enhancing supplements and has created the most effective brain and mood-enhancing formulas ever created. He is now the Chief Product Officer for Nootopia and devoted to optimizing brains and minds around the world. Welcome to the podcast, Mark Effinger.
Thank you so much, Lisa. So good to meet you. Glad we could spend this time together.
Nice to meet you too. I hope I said your name right. I always try to make sure.
No, you nailed it. You nailed it. Mostly, I get one of my mentors was the guy that funded Nike. His name was Jack Nichols.
Of course.
And now that you live in the Northwest, you're in Nike territory.
Yes.
And Jack called me the F finger. That was his way of giving me shit whenever it was time to. So anyhow.
All right, that is hilarious. Mark Effinger, how can we unlock our true potential? I want to hear about that.
Oh, I love it. Well, first there's, we wrote a book called Sick to Superhuman. And the premise of that book was, if we really look deep inside, all of us have these kind of inherent weaknesses or challenges that we're facing. Some of them are very obvious. I was hypothyroid when I was younger and didn't know it and just was depressed and my energy was low. And, I was working my butt off, but didn't feel like I could get enough sleep and those things. And just solving that one problem made me feel, literally within 6 months of starting on desiccated thyroid, which is what the solution I used at the time, I came out of that feeling like I was indomitable. And that is a state that we all want to achieve. When you achieve the state of indomitable, right? So nothing can mess with you. The worst day is still pretty darn good. That's a really powerful place to work in and live in. And it's also super valuable to the people you love, to your children, your spouse, or your significant other, and also to the people that you work with. I mean, I've got the company that I'm in right now, we're almost 150 employees, and we have interactions with almost every one of them. You want to leave those interactions. You want to leave them with something positive, inspiring, and you want to help them move forward in their lives as well. So that's kind of what we try to do with Nootopia and Bioptimizers, is provide the base ingredients to help people go from sick to superhuman.
Wow, that is so admirable. I feel like energy is needed these days. You want to show up with that kind of energy to lead others. We're in a mental health crisis, we're in a physical health crisis, and we're in disruptive times. So I feel like as a leader, you have to be the one to bring the energy. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, one of your core responsibilities is to make sure and move your organization, the people that you interface with, forward. And that is super important at home as well as right at the desk, or however you do it. If you're currently one of those remote workers that's trying to make stuff happen while you have nobody to interact with except for Zoom calls, it's still important for you to leave those people right with something positive they can reflect on, with an insight about themselves that maybe they're not aware of, that's helpful and encouraging. And so that's kind of what, my life has been full of these incredible ups and downs.
Right.
But if you average it out, it's been like way above, the +10 mark. And so anyhow, so it's really important to one, build a healthy person, right? So your physical, emotional, spiritual lives, you got to build that solid. You got to reflect on it every day. There's nothing like I just before getting here, I did a 20 minute meditation. And I did it not because I thought you and I were going to have any challenges. I wanted to bring all of me to this conversation. And to do that, I have to be refreshed. So I just laid back, I put on some binaural headphones, some signals, and for 20 minutes I just let my mind go into a peaceful state. I I I managed my breathing and my heart rate. So I got into a really good state. I took a nootropic. It's called Gabalicious just before, and then this thing called Zamner juice, and used those as a way to help to elevate my consciousness when I got on the call with you, because that to me was really important. So yeah, modifying behavior, optimizing behavior to the point where you know how to get where you need to be when you need to be there for as long as you need to be there. That's the ultimate goal.
I love that. I'm all about high performance and helping others not only show up with that kind of energy, being in meditation. I'm so glad that you brought that up because that's how I want to show up. I want to leave people better than I found them, or just be unforgettable. When you go in the room, being intentional and be like, what kind of energy you want to bring. So how can we transform our brain performance?
Great question. So one of the things now I'm 62 years old, so I'm an old guy, but
No, you're not.
thanks. But the deal is I want to perform like I did when I was in my mid 20s. That's always been an important marker for me when you're firing on all cylinders and you're lighting up a room and you've got unlimited amount of energy and you're working till 2 a.m. and you're up at 6 really kicking it again. And I come from the tech industry, and so the tech industry is, it's basically the sacred datum is we'll quit, or we'll rest or we'll sleep when we're dead. And if
Basically,
you've ever,
yeah.
right, and you've worked in LA, I've worked in LA, Silicon Valley, San Diego, all the big tech scenes, Portland, Oregon,
Right.
Seattle, and yeah. And you said you live in Tri-Cities now. Is that Tri-Cities, Spokane area?
No, it's actually Central Washington. So the big selling point of getting me here is the wine region. We're in like there's 150 different vineyards around here, maybe 4 hours from Portland, and basically the middle of nowhere compared to New York and LA where I lived before. But being able to work remotely is really helpful.
It
And
is.
performance, it's just like I want to show up performing as well as I possibly can.
So it's really important. So you're Seattle, Tacoma, that area. Is that right?
It's like 3.5 hours from Seattle, 4 hours from Portland, so a couple hours from Spokane.
All
So
right. All right.
Richland,
Oh,
Kennewick,
Kennewick. Yeah.
and I'm in Kennewick. Yeah, so basically, yeah, the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, no, oh, no, it's a great area. That's actually at one point, not too long ago, that became the Bitcoin mining center of the world.
I didn't know that. That is so cool.
Yeah, there people were building containers, shipping containers, filling them with servers, and then parking them near the dam, and using
Wow.
the fact that they could get because they were so power hungry to try to Bitcoin mine. So anyhow, yeah, love
I
that area.
didn't
It's a
know
great
that.
great desert area, wonderful
Yeah.
area to live. I love it. I used to live in Spokane as well, so I have some familiarity with Tri-Cities. So okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. There are substances, a couple things. One is until you clean your brain, until you actually kind of detoxify your brain, and that's both a digital detox, meaning don't overwhelm yourself with content. Doom scrolling on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook are death to your brain. So
Wow.
that's part of it. Another is, and we make a solution for this, is every night your brain shrinks slightly. And when it does that, it makes room for cerebral spinal fluid to flow past the capillaries that are carrying away all of the stuff that's left after the mitochondria produce ATP and help accelerate your cognitive performance. So So taking something, we have a thing called mental reboot PM. What it does is it accelerates the process of your cerebral spinal fluid, removing those toxins from your brain, getting them down through your spinal cord and out your body eventually. And you'll notice that when your brain is detoxed, meaning that you've slept well, you had quality sleep. If you use any kind of a sleep monitoring device like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or an Oura Ring, you can monitor those things. And I highly suggest it. Don't live and die by it, but you'll find that if you get good quality sleep, where you've got good extended REM sleep, which is where you dream, you have good extended deep sleep, which is where you do all the healing, and then you have your middle ground sleep is good, and try to get as much as your body requires. Everybody's a little different. Um, it'll make a marked difference in your waking time. And the way I like to phrase that is, sleep is the world's most powerful stimulant.
Wow.
So keep that in mind, right? So
Yeah. I
you
was
know
just
that
gonna
experience,
say
right?
I struggle. A lot of women as we get older, we struggle with sleeping, and it makes the difference between a good day and a bad day, and a good mood and a bad mood is sleep. It's magical.
It is. Your hormones are produced, a significant amount are produced when you're sleeping. Human growth hormone, right as you get to sleep, your human growth hormone spikes, and which is your anti-aging and some other characteristics, healing characteristics on your body. So really
Yeah.
critical. We make a thing called we have a sleep kit basically where we have a powder drink mix that you take. Um, and we have a thing called Dream Optimizer, which is a spray that it's actually a gel that you put in your mouth. And that combination is incredibly powerful for bringing your parasympathetic system, which is the sleep, right? Rest and digest is what they call it.
Yeah.
Bringing your those characteristics, heightening those characteristics in your body so that you can get to sleep. You can get to sleep quickly. You can get to sleep effectively. You can sleep a nice duration that your body needs for that healing. You can increase your dream life, which I find very powerful for problem solving and just for enjoying the fact that if I'm going to spend 6 to 8 hours asleep, I might as well have another adventure while I'm there. So increasing
Yeah.
your dream activity is good. So that's a really important part. So I detox my brain and I increase the quality of my sleep. So so we have a thing called Sleep Breakthrough. That's our drink. And then we have Dream Optimizer, which is for dreams. And we have Mental Reboot PM, which is a product. And again, this is not a pitch. You can do all of this with your own formulations if you like. We just happen to have worked diligently to put stuff together and what we call stack them in a way that guarantees your performance results. So now we've slept well, right? We've
Right.
detoxed our brain. We've got our human growth hormone expression late at night is done well. We've had some great dreamy stuff going on. We wake up in the morning. Now what? Well, now what is I usually I outside of trying to do a gratitude journal first thing in the morning, which I think is really important, is to recognize your blessings, recognize what a great life we're
Yeah.
fortunate to have, and the people around us. I've got these two dogs that break through my baby gate. They hear me or my girlfriend wrestling first thing in the
Oh,
morning, and they'll break through the baby gate and they come up and they attack us in bed, and it's great. And we're very fortunate. We're overlooking the Mississippi, so we wake up to the sunrise every morning, and it's just a fantastic experience. But being really thankful for, regardless of where you're at, being really thankful, finding the stuff to be thankful for. Sometimes that's a struggle. You may be having a really bad day, and so, but if you'll take that time to basically program your mind to think about the positive blessings you've got in your life, recognize them, be thankful for them, you may find that your life has a tendency to follow that with more good stuff.
I love
So,
gratitude. I'm so glad you mentioned that. And also too, I wanted to dive into focus and clarity because I know once you've already
yep.
had that good sleep and you wake up and you have your gratitude going, and then you have all this like distractions coming at you as an entrepreneur, I can say, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, where does it end? TikTok. I mean,
Yeah.
so how can we, this is the last question I want to talk about really is just clarity and focus because asking for a friend.
I love it. So that's it's super important, and I'm glad you asked. One of the things that our first solutions that we made were products to help addicts get off of addictive drugs and replace the feelings that they had, the kind of emotional connection they had with the drug, replace it with an emotional connection with something better, maybe a higher power, maybe more energy and commitment. And one of the big problems I found with when I was dealing with addicts, especially if they were addicted to things like speed or cocaine or other high stimulant solutions, was that they felt totally unmotivated without those drugs. So they may be clean now, but they're couch potatoes.
Right.
So so what I did was I said, okay, what are the factors that help people improve their natural energy, which is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is a byproduct of mitochondria, which mitochondria populate every cell. Some cells have thousands of mitochondria and some have dozens, but regardless, they're the power, they're the generator inside the cell that gives us natural energy. Now you can do artificial energy, which some of it isn't bad. We all, many of us have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning, or 3 cups of coffee in the morning, and that's a caffeinated way to get energy, but it's not very sustainable necessarily. And you can't just keep throwing caffeine at the problem if your energy levels are low. You got to find a deeper thing. So one of the
Yeah.
most important things is we make a product called, well, I'm on one right now. So this right here is a drink mix that we make, and its purpose in life is to help optimize your neurochemistry as well as preload your hormones so that you've got good hormone levels, and then you've got good oxygen, acetylcholine, anandamide, you've got dopamine, you've got serotonin, you got these key neurochemicals that are now brought to a level that helps you to perform at very high levels. So that's really important. And once you get those neurochemicals firing really well, you feel great because your brain wants to be able to solve problems. You
Right.
want to be able to confront issues. If you can't confront issues, you kind of draw back, you start folding in on yourself. But
Right.
if you have an abundance of neurochemicals that can perform well for you, you suddenly attack problems and you solve things and you feel better about your solutions. You feel more confident because you can kind of run through all the processes. There's a scene at the end of the movie Limitless where Bradley Cooper is talking to Robert De Niro, and De Niro is saying, you can't figure this out. He goes, you have no idea what I could figure out. I see every solution. I see every opportunity. I see every possibility. And it's true. And once you get your brain clear, you get your sleep right, and then you get your wakefulness and focus right. We have a thing called ultimate focus for that. Um, you'll find that every area of your life kind of works better because you're performing, you're solving more problems or more issues or addressing more opportunities, and you're doing it fluidly. You're not doing it in starts and stops. You're doing it smoothly, almost effortlessly. And the first thing we talked about in today's show was being indomitable. Once you
Yeah.
start in that mode of problem solving and figuring things out, it becomes a dance. Life becomes a dance. And once you're in that dance, you kind of you kind of get this rhythm. I call it a success rhythm that you
Yeah.
can kind of dive into whenever you need or whenever you want so that you can solve these things. And you can back out of it and go into another mode. But having that available success rhythm and knowing the solutions to take when is really important. So we try to provide that. We've got guidebooks on what to take when and how to customize and optimize your life so that you're always at the space you need to be at to do the things that are important to you and perform well. And yeah, that's what we do.
Well, thanks, Mark Effinger. I want to know, where can people find you? They want to have this
But
indomitable, unbreakable, unshakable. They want to be unstoppable and perform better.
I I so love that. Um, so the best way to do that, I think we have a coupon code. Yes, we do. So go to newtopia.com/whole CEO. That's WHOLE CEO. And use a promo code whole CEO for 10% off on any of our solutions. And then don't hesitate to reach out to me or my staff and say, hey, I want to know how to solve focus. or I'm going to want to know how to make my mood more positive or more stable, or I want to know how to cure my gut issues, or I want to know, and we'll do our best to provide you with some solutions, some insights. Everybody on our team is an absolute rock star. I'm super proud of everyone that we work with. And yeah, I would do that. That's a great way to get started.
Sounds good. nootopia.com, whole CEO.
It is.
Well, thanks, Mark, for bringing all this knowledge bombs to our audience.
Dig it. It was great, Lisa. Thank you so much. Let's do this again.
Absolutely.